I feel amazing. I feel so good. The last 2 weeks have literally been the best 2 weeks of my entire life. The last 2 weeks have literally been the best 2 weeks of my entire life. Do you remember like when you feel bad about yourself or when you hit rock bottom? Like I literally hit rock bottom, when was it? Hold on, I'm trying to remember. Oh wait, 5 years ago. And I literally, like, I actually passed out going down some stairs in a subway in New York City. And I literally hit rock bottom. And like, I just love that so much for me because I really did feel like I was in a movie at the time. Like when I woke up, I just could not stop laughing. Like I literally was like, this is so funny to me. Like, does nobody else think that this is funny? And then like, yeah, so everything was fine. I had to like fly home. It was like a big thing, but everything was fine. But yeah, so you know you have those rock bottom moments. Like I had a lot of rock bottom moments last year. Last year may have been rock bottom worse than New York. I think so. But yeah, so, or maybe not, who cares? But anyways, you know, you hit rock bottom, you're just like, gosh, is life ever gonna feel good again? Like, is there any purpose? You know what I mean? Like, why am I even alive if my life is gonna suck like this? You know what I mean? But honestly, like, one thing about me is when I have those moments, I cannot help but feel like I'm in a movie. Like, I just can't help but feel like, you know, I can't help but feel like the camera is like watching me, you know, like, I don't know. I just, maybe that's a coping mechanism, but maybe I just watched too much TV as a kid. But I literally just feel like I am in a movie when that type of stuff happens because it's just like, it's so funny to me. Like, I remember last year I drove to Atlanta for an acting class, and when I got there, like nobody was there. It's just funny. But anyway, so these past 2 weeks have been amazing. I say all that to tell you, these past 2 weeks have just been so beautiful and so special. And like, they're the moments where it's like, like, you didn't even think about how bad rock bottom was. I'm saying rock bottom, like I was literally like coked out or something, but I was actually fine. I was just being a silly rabbit. Lately, I've just been feeling like I'm in a straight up rom-com or something. Like, it has just been so, I really do feel like I'm in a movie right now. Like, I feel like there's a camera watching me. You know, I really do. It's so great. It's so much fun. About a week ago, okay, focus. Okay, about a week ago, I went to Philly for my childhood friend's wedding. The wedding, I'm not kidding you, it was like a movie. Like, it was so beautiful. And I wanted to film. Now I'm remembering why I even turned my camera on to film, right? So I wanted to film and talk about it because like, it was just like, I had so many moments where I was just like, that's a gem. So I'll tell you the story. The bride and the groom met each other when they were in college, right? And they're college sweethearts. And so when we were at the like drinks, like the day before the wedding, not the bachelorette party or anything, but they just had like a little like pre-wedding reception where like they had open bars and people drank and talked and everybody was like, oh, I'm here for the wedding, woo! And so the day of that, they had like their little drinks ceremony thing. Another girl came, who's also from my hometown, and she's also with her college sweetheart. Like, that is just such a rom-com moment. Like, I love that so much. But the sister of the groom, the sister of the bride, the sister of the groom was real cool though. I just met her for the first time last week. Loved her. We hit it off. But the sister of the bride, she was talking and she was like, do you guys know anybody? Like, do you guys know anybody that's like, you know? Amira was like, girl, like, trust me, you do not want them, like, you know, just hold tight. She's like, just give it time, be patient, wait, right? And so the girl, Elizabeth, the sister of the bride, she's like, I just think it's so funny. And she was like a little tipsy at this point. She's like, I just think it's so funny, and she was being dead serious, how you and my sister are always telling people, like, just wait and be patient. Don't rush it or whatever. She's like, but you guys literally are with the same men you've been with for the last 10 years. Like, you're with your college sweetheart. That's how she said it. She was like, you're with your college sweetheart. And everybody was like laughing or whatever. And she's like, yeah, we are. She's like, and we've seen some not so pretty sides of them. So that's why we're telling you to wait, to like be patient, because you don't know what you're getting into, right? And I was just like, I don't know. I just got a word from that, like that ministered to my soul. Like, because you know, it's so easy to like see something happening in somebody else's life and be like, gosh, I should be, like, this should be me. Like, I should be at this point in my life. Not even out of like envy, just out of like, since everyone is supposedly has it all together at this and this age, then I'm supposed to have it all together, you know, because I'm almost at this and this age, right? But the reality is that that's just not the case for most people. Like, for most people, you got some stuff together, you got some stuff not together, or maybe nothing is together, right? And I was like, that is really good. And she's like, yeah, she's like, trust me, girl, it's not easy. It's not like, she's like, we're good, but it's like, she's like, it's been a long journey. We've been together for a long time. And yeah, like, it's really easy to like envy something. And it's also important to realize this too, because I was talking to a girl about this too. And, oh no, that's how just hold on. So they have that little moment at the wedding, and she's like talking about how like, y'all be telling people to wait, y'all be telling people to slow down, and you niggas are already locked down. Y'all got rings, so what are you talking about? And a lot of people say that, right? Like, they'll be like, stop telling me to slow down, stop telling me, you know, not to rush, when you already have it all figured out. But that's the thing, is like, it has to be everything in the right time, right? And everybody's journey is gonna look really different, you know? So while somebody's journey may look very similar to somebody else's journey, it doesn't mean that your journey is gonna look like that, right? And if the whole time you're just constantly thinking, oh, well, what about me? What about my this? What about when I have this? Then it's gonna be miserable. Like, that's not gonna be fun, you know what I mean? And when she said, like, you know, you don't know what goes into all of this, like, you don't understand, like, it's been a long journey, I was like, she can't really hear this wisdom right now because she was lit. My girl was lit, okay? She's having fun. She said, my sister's getting married and I'm about to turn up, as she should. But I definitely got the wisdom from it because, you know, like, when I think about my career, especially when I was younger, I used to feel like I had to make it as fast as possible. And when I started acting, when I started telling people and like telling people, like, this is my job, like, this is my career, I started to feel insecure because, you know, like, acting is a hurry up and wait kind of industry in every sense of the word. Like, you'll have like consistent auditions sometimes you can't even get an audition. You will have, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those type of industries where it's like, it's not easy, it's not for the faint of heart. If you don't have the right heart posture, if you don't have the right mindset and like heart posture in it, like, if you're just like, if your whole thing is like, I'm gonna prove to everybody that, like, I was born to do this and yada yada yada, and you're rushing it, it's gonna make an already pretty difficult industry 10 times more difficult. I'm telling you. If instead you're like, you know what, I'm not seeing the kind of growth I want to see, so how can I take a step back right now and use this time to my advantage? Right before the pandemic, I was getting auditions and stuff, and I was doing mostly theater, right? And it was like going good, and I was like, okay, things are about to look a little different for me. Like, I'm really making progress. Then the pandemic came, and I remember getting the emails about my auditions being canceled. And I was like, you guys are so dramatic. Like, it's just a little virus. You don't have to cancel the auditions. Like, girl, shut up. I'm coming anyways. I was so irritated. And I just felt like so, like, at the time I was sick. At the time, I was really sick. I had done a performance. In like a neighboring city, and that night, as soon as I closed my mouth, as soon as I finished my monologue, I literally felt so sick. Like, I felt so sick, and so yeah, I'm sick. I'm trying to like figure out how to get better as fast as possible so I can go on audition. And then I get those emails like probably 48 hours later that, guess what, there is no audition. We're gonna cancel them indefinitely. And I was just like, girl, y'all really do the most, because it's really not that serious. Like, it's not that serious. It's really not. Okay, it's a little virus. It's gonna, yeah, the media, you know, like, it's gonna go away in like 2 weeks. Calm down. That's what I was thinking. LOL. Okay, and so during that time, I literally was just like, I did not know what to do, because remember, I had been rushing. And all that rushing had done up until then was get me nowhere. I literally had been rushing. I'm trying to go to every audition, trying to audition at every single theater company, trying to, you know, sign with any agent, like just rushing. And my whole thing was theater. I really wanted theater. Like, I just really wanted theater. So I felt very defeated, very frustrated, and very lost, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean there's a virus going around? Like, theater's not about to be like, it's just not. It's just not, for a while, at least. And so I felt like super defeated and super frustrated, right? And it wasn't a good time at all. So then that's how I ended up looking for TV film. So then I started auditioning and submitting to agencies that do commercials, that do TV and film. And that's how I ended up signing with my agent. And I say all that to say, had I been like so pressed, I would have kept trying to do like, you know, the virtual theater things that they were doing and the virtual reading things. But instead I was just like, I'm just gonna let theater be where she is for right now. And I ended up getting, like, thoroughly enjoying film, actually more than I enjoy theater, to be completely honest. So yeah, the whole thing about rushing stuff is that it never works out the way it's supposed to work out. When you rush, it creates a sense of desperation. And naturally, desperation is just unattractive. You know what I mean? It's just like, if you are looking for a partner and you're just desperate, he's anybody, like girl, male, they're just gonna be like, no. Same thing in auditions. If you go into auditions, and I used to be really bad about this, I used to go into auditions, and even though I would do a good job, I really believe the reason why I wouldn't book these jobs is because I was so thirsty to make it as fast as possible, right? And part of the reason why I felt that pressure is because I was trying to prove people wrong, right? So I would feel like I have to make it in this audition, like I have to book this job because that's gonna push me closer to the next gig. And that attitude is not fun. You know what I mean? That attitude is not fun. It's not lighthearted. It doesn't encourage creativity, you know? And regardless of the work that I would do on these, the work that I would do on my audition pieces, I feel like the mindset of having to book the job, of having to prove people wrong would put me in a position where, one, I would be open to poor agreements, poor arrangements, and then two, I wasn't performing my best. So I'm all stressed out about the audition, trying to book the audition, and it's like, now you're having a hard time even getting auditions because you're just not doing that well, right? It's just that, it's that friction of like, I want it so bad, right? And so when I was looking at this girl and she's just telling people like, oh my gosh, like, and she didn't do this the whole weekend, she was literally just lit, and she was just like, and like at one point she was saying like, oh my gosh, I'm 26, it's time. Like, and I remember feeling like that, like during 2020, I'm like, it's time. Like, it is time for me to be doing this full time. And it's just time for me to be, you know, and that puts yourself in such a bad situation. Like, I was supposed to move back to New York, in 2019, and I just had a really bad feeling about it, and I started having like really bad dreams about my funeral. It was really scary. But I remember like, I just couldn't figure out why I wasn't supposed to move back, and then COVID came, you know? And I just have all these moments where I'm like, oh, so that's why I shouldn't be in New York. How did I even get to this part of the story? Anyways, I'm gonna keep talking because you know I love to talk. But yeah, so fast forward now, I'm getting ready for a callback. And I feel like now when I audition, first of all, instead of me being like, oh, I hate at-home auditions, like I hate at-home callbacks, I want to feel the energy. I'm just like, let's make this thing go. Like I set up my little space. I got my lights going. I set up everything. I give myself an abundance of time to get ready. And I just literally treat it like what it is. I'm playing, I'm having fun, I'm creating, I'm living. And it's not so serious. Nobody, and that's what I was gonna get to. I was watching like a acting class, and the guy was talking about booking commercials, and he was like, it's really easy to feel like you have to book the commercial because these commercials pay very, very well. And he's like, but because you're so pressed to book this commercial, you're in there and you're all tight and you're all, you know, stressed out. Don't nobody want to buy that kind of product, right? In the commercial, you're thinking about trying to make this product, trying to make this experience look super appealing. But the thing about commercials is that you're selling yourself. You're not selling the product. They want to sell a product. They can take the product. Here, buy this black girl sunscreen. It's for black girls and you won't look pasty. Here, take it, right? But no, there's a reason why they want a face and they want a body and they want a smile and they want eyes to sell a product, because actually you're selling yourself, right? And when you start to let yourself have fun, when you stop trying to feel like you have to prove to people that what you do should be taken seriously, everything gets so much more fun. Not only do you get more opportunities, not only do you make more money, you're just happier in general. Like now, if I'm not booking, you know, gigs and stuff, if I'm not getting auditions, I'm not about to be stressed out. I'm not about to be depressed. I literally just pray. I always pray for open doors and opportunities. And while I'm in that meantime, in between time, I'm focusing on strengthening my craft. So I'm not sitting here stressed out looking for the next audition constantly. I have multiple agents. So if I'm not, you know, getting auditions right now and I know that they're submitting me, I'm not gonna sit there and be stressed out. And now when I catch myself getting stressed out like that, I'm like, no, we're not doing that, Siki. Because first of all, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? It's not that serious for you to even get stressed out about this type of job. I'm an actress. I'm not saving lives. You know what I mean? I'm not out here fighting for somebody's freedom in a courtroom. It's not that deep. It's not that serious for you to be stressed out about a job. And I feel like once I started thinking like that, like now, and like this is why I used to get in trouble at jobs and stuff, is because they'd be like, Siki, and I'd be like, girl, it's not that serious. We don't work in a hospital. Sorry, like you're not gonna stress me out. Like, we work at a restaurant. It's not that serious. Like, but yeah. And so when you have that like chill, like, and you just focus on like putting in work, I'm telling you, like everything just like opens up. And it takes you off the hamster wheel of constantly looking for the next thing, Because that's what also goes in this whole, like, you have to have your life together. And like why certain people feel that pressure of like, I have to, you know, have a perfect partner. I have to have a perfect job, is because it's like, no, because you have the perfect partner, now you need the perfect job. Now that you have the perfect job, you have to get a promotion and you have to be traveling. And it's like, girl, it's not even that serious. Like, life is life. And at the end of all this, you're gonna die anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally gonna roll over and die anyways. So just vibe. You know what I mean? Like, be intentional, but don't be stressing out over stuff that's inevitable. Yeah, when you are like stressed out and like obsessed with anything, you open yourself up to so much danger. You open yourself up to so much, like, at the best, time wasted, at the worst, actual danger in real life. Because people can sense that they can sense that desperation, and predators will latch on, and it's curtains for you. But yeah, that was like one of the things that I got from the wedding. Because it's like part of what made the wedding so beautiful is that everyone, well, one, for me personally, I love meeting people who know my friends. You know what I mean? Like, I went to Trinidad last year. And I met like my friend's coworkers, and I met her best friend in Trinidad. And this is another one of my childhood friends from high school. And I met this girl when I was like 14 years old. And it was just so cool to see people who only knew this version of her. You know what I mean? Like, not to be like, you know those people who are like, you brand new, not like that. But it was cool to see people who knew like the version of her who's like living her dreams, who is established, who's confident, who's like professional. You know what I mean? Like, it was so cool. And like, it was just cool hearing people talk about her. It was great. And that's why I love like birthday parties. I love weddings. I love any type of like celebration for everyone, because it's so exciting to see people from different chapters of their life, regardless of if the friendship dynamic has changed or whatever, right? And because my friend who's in Trinidad, it was her birthday when I went there, and I had spent her birthday with her in years, so it was like super fun. But where's I going with this? Right. So yeah, so the wedding was beautiful. One, because you know, it was like establishing like this love story that began years ago. It was where they both went to school, so it was outside. The weather was so beautiful, not too hot, not too cold. At one point during the ceremony, the birds started chirping. I was like, bro, I'm in a movie. Like, I'm literally in a movie right now. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. The birds were chirping. The bride literally looked like a dream come true. Like, she just looked so stunning. Like, she just looked so stunning. And it was just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wedding. Like, I literally don't have the words. Why did I do that? I literally don't have the words to describe how gorgeous that wedding was. Like, the bride was beautiful. Her groom looked great. He was so happy. He cried when he said his vows. It was so cute. It was just such a sweet, it was so sweet, and it was so nice to share those memories. And then afterwards, like, it just felt like a movie, because the reception, it was so much fun. Like, remember I had said, like, you know, everybody was kind of stressed out, you know, for whatever reason, like planning a wedding, also like just whatever they have going on in their personal lives. And you can kind of sense that energy. But the reception, it was just like so much fun. Everybody was like super lit. They had an open bar. They had 2 open bars, and like, we just had a ball. Everybody was on the dance floor. It was young people, it was old people, it was white folks, it was black folks. It was just beautiful. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in a movie right now. And we were just singing all the songs. It was so much fun. But yeah, it was such a beautiful weekend, and it was good to, like I said, it was so beautiful to see friends and family. And it was so beautiful also because sometimes you'll be like, oh, they invited me just to invite me. Like, they don't really want me there. At least I think like that. I'll be like, they don't really, like, I don't need to be there. But then once you get there, you realize that like people really appreciate your presence, and you actually do like need to be there, because they wouldn't invite you if they didn't actually want you there. But yeah, it was definitely one of the most beautiful weekends of my life, right? And so there was the wedding. Then last week, I got to see, no, not last week, like 2 days ago, I got to see another one of my high school friends. And I got to like see her baby again. I met her baby a while ago. Her baby really wasn't like, she wasn't a fan of me. And not that she wasn't a fan of me. She has a cold, so she couldn't like enjoy my presence. We couldn't really vibe like that. But her cousin, he's like 2. He and I were the best of friends. It was so much fun. And it was her mom's birthday party that I went to. And then I had I had so many auditions. I say all that to say, these past couple of weeks, I've been getting so many auditions. And because I'm not stressed out about it, because I don't feel rushed, I don't feel pressed. I'm either gonna get them or I'm not. And now I'm getting ready for a callback. Like, love that for me. But I probably shouldn't have put on all this makeup, but it's okay because it's on Zoom anyway, so they're not gonna really be able to tell. But yeah, back on the subject of rushing things, so I just remember this movie called Prophet Suddenly, right? And I watched it, it's on YouTube, and it was really good because I saw a lot of myself in that prophet. I'll tell you like the rundown, I'll give you a synopsis. Excuse me. So basically, this man is a minister, okay? And he's like obsessed with ministry, okay? Ministry, not God. He's obsessed with ministry. Like he literally will look up pictures of ministers and prophets and he'll be like, oh my gosh, like I could be like this. Like he doesn't, I don't even think at that time he was like attending a church or anything. He was just like obsessed with ministry. And it's one thing to not attend a church. Like I'm not one of those people at this stage in my walk with Christ that I'm like, you have to go to church. Because seriously, like if you prioritize God, you're gonna be covered. Like you'll be ministered to, he'll send people to you and he will himself minister to you. But anyways, he like wasn't going to a church at the time, and he was just like basically working so much to get his own ministry off the ground, right? And so he was like desperate for it, like obsessed with it. You know, he'd work like super late nights, and that desperation quickly grew into an idol. Like quickly grew into an idol. And when I say an idol, I mean like if you don't know like Christianese, because I remember one time this girl was like, you made an idol out of weight loss and eating healthy, and I was like, okay, what's the big deal? But when you make an idol out of something, you worship it as a god. Like you literally like worship it like it's God. Like I'll give you a good example. Like when I was obsessed with acting, I would literally just like look at pictures of like Nia Long, Regina King, Gabrielle Union, and I would just be like obsessed with them. And Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett, and like it always started with a genuine interest and appreciation for their work, right? It's fine, totally cool. Because Regina King can act her butt off. That's just one thing about it. That's my favorite actress of all time. Regina King can act her butt off. Like she's, woo, love that girl. But yeah, so like for me, it would start off just like, you know, watching their stuff and looking at their pictures, and then I started like getting obsessed with like how they look, and they're all slim, and you know, the kind of projects that they would do, and I'll watch their shows and stuff, and like I would even find myself like acting like them, like trying to act like Regina King, trying to act like Gabrielle Union. Now, if you've ever done theater, if you've ever done acting, you know the gift is in you. Nobody wants a knockoff Regina King. Sorry, that's not what people want, okay? It's just not what they want. They want you. And when I had made theater and idol, when I had made acting and idol and stuff, like I said, I wasn't getting any auditions. And the auditions that I got were quickly taken away. So I'll never forget one time I had this audition in New York, and I show up there and they're like, you're not on the list. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not on the list? I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not on the list? And they're like, yeah, you're not on the list, like you can't audition. I like, that ruined my whole week. Like I was upset, I was depressed, like I'm pretty sure I cried, I felt hopeless. Like it's just not that deep. It's really not. It's literally acting. Like girl, relax. But yeah, so that's how he was about ministry. Like he was obsessed with ministry. Eat, breathe, sleep, drink ministry. Now, as a minister, you need to be obsessed with the Lord. Okay? Like you need to be eat, sleep, drink the Lord, not eat, sleep, and drink ministry, because you know that opens you up to all types of craziness. So he ended up you know, having this big idol when it came to ministry, having this obsession with ministry, having this obsession with the fame and the fortune that comes with ministry. And so he ends up getting to a point in his career where he's highly reverenced and sought after in his industry, and he's respected in his field, and he's well known in his area. And so he goes to a well-known minister and he asks him for mentorship he asked him to take him under his wing and stuff, and the guy was like, no. And he's like, well, you know, I brought an offering with me, right? So, you know, if you're looking at the subtext, he's trying to bribe homeboy, like, here, take my money, you know? And the guy was like, no. And by the end of the movie, this man had literally lost his mind. I'm doing it such a disservice. Please go watch the movie, because it is such a good story on idolatry, on danger, on how a lot of false prophets are about to rise up in this time. It's a good story on that. And if you're Christian, you should watch it. If you have any type of big dream that you feel obsessed with, that you feel almost burdened by, you should certainly watch it, because it will help you put things into perspective, right? You never want to position yourself in a place of desperation, ever, for as long as you live. It's not cute. Aside from the danger of it, aside from everything, it's just not cute to be desperate for over anything, especially not ministry. And so, ow, I just pinched my eye. I hate when I do that. These things are so bad for your eyes. But anyways, yeah, so at the end of the movie, homeboy had literally lost his mind. Literally. And like I said, it just spoke volumes, because when you're obsessed with that kind of stuff, it messes up your vision. When you're obsessed, it messes up your vision. You can't see things properly. It messes with your connection to God. Now you don't have discernment. Now you can't hear God's voices on certain things. And in his position, it was in his life, it was ministry. But you can also apply this to people. You know, if you really want a partner, and you feel so pressed to get a partner, and you feel like, I just have to be married by this time, or whatever. Now you are going on 5 or 6 dates, you know, not really, but you're going on, you know, 2 to 3 dates a week. You're going to every happy hour. You're going to every event. And it's like, you're doing all this, and predators can smell that desperation. And a lot of people operate as predators, but they don't identify as predators. You know what I mean? Have you ever been with somebody and like you're kind of telling them about themselves after things end, and you're like, you know, you really are garbage, like you're trash? Because that's how I talk to people. I'd be like, I'm gonna be honest with you, you are garbage. Like, I really hope the worst for you. You're nothing to me now. You're dead to me now. But I stopped doing that, because it's like, chill. But have you ever like ended things with somebody and y'all like clearly seeing this isn't gonna work, right? And they're like, yeah, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm still a good person. And you're like, no, you're actually garbage. What's wrong with you? Like, you're a whole person. And they're like, no, man, I'm a good person. Like, a lot. And what I realized is that a lot of people really do think that like they're good people. They really do think that like they can't do anything wrong. And so while they are like sensing your desperation, right, and they are playing with you, they don't see that as wrong. In real life, like, a lot of people operate as predators. They think it's predators and everything, but they don't see anything wrong with that. And they don't identify themselves as a predator. And a lot of times it's just because they were hurt so much growing up. It doesn't absolve them, but that's a lot of times why it is, from what I've learned in my life. So yeah, so now you walking around here at every happy hour, at every event, and you know, you're just so thirsty. You're so desperate for this partner that you have to have at 30. And so you have to start dating him now because you're about to be 27 and stuff. And you have to really start asking yourself, like, what voice in my head is telling me this, right? And how did it get all the way in my head? Like, why did I not shut it down from the outside? And then years later, you end up in these horrible relationships. You know, you end up in a relationship that literally causes you to lose your mind, and it's really sad. Same thing with the job. Like, you can really feel like pressed to have a certain job or pressed to go to a certain school, and that makes it so that these things that maybe you were destined for, right? Maybe you are destined to be in a great marriage, right? You clearly have the desire for marriage. So maybe you are destined to be in this beautiful marriage. Maybe you are destined to have this incredible career. But because you're so desperate for it, because you're so focused on rushing it, now you open yourself up to danger. You miss the people that are actually strategically placed around you who are there to help you. And you know, you end up losing your mind, or you end up getting screwed over or something like that. And it's really, really sad. And that's like the thing, that was the thing in the movie, is the guy who, so Prophet suddenly had went to another, another well-known teacher and minister. And he was like, you know, I want you to mentor me. I want you to take me under your wing. I want you to be my spiritual father. And the guy was like, spiritual father? I don't even know you, first of all. So no. And then, and the guy could tell something wasn't right with the spirit. And so at one point, the guy told him, like, you were called to minister, you were called to be a prophet, but you're messing around with the wrong things, essentially. He was like, and so if you go back to God right now and get it together, we can still salvage your assignment and your calling. He's like, but time is running out. And that's the thing, like, I feel like I was literally born to be an actress. Like, I actually know for a fact I was born to be an actress, but if I was still moving the way I used to, you know, when I had first started doing this, who knows the types of things that I would be involved in? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Because when you get obsessed like that, you'll take any job, you will work with anybody, and that, like I said, predators are like, I'm going for that girl right there. She'll do anything. So, bet, I'm gonna go for her, right? And while all that's happening, you are literally missing the people that were preordained to help you elevate in your career. It's just like so crazy when you think about it, and it's so sad. And like when you really think about it, how many people have been in that position, especially when it comes to relationships. Like, have you ever talked to one of your friends who is arguing and frustrated and upset over a partner, and you're like, ma'am, you literally have this other guy who wants to talk to you so bad, who's so great to you, who's so kind to you, who wants to take you out, who wants to give you everything that you want, but you're sitting here arguing with the bum who still shares a car with his sister, who acts like he's in the 3rd grade. But yeah, and the whole time, like, they're missing out on, like, on the guy who's actually meant for them, who's actually, you know, pleasant, who's actually kind, who is actually a good man, as opposed to like a nice guy. You know what I mean? And like, it's so easy, and it's a lot easier to see that in relationships and to see that romantically, because I feel like we just see it all the time, right? Like, especially as girls, like, we just see it all the time. Like, you see your friend arguing with this nigga, like blocking him, unblocking him, he blocks her, you know, crying every other night, and the whole time she's got men in her DMs who are kind, who are pleasant, who are polite. Or maybe it's not any of those guys who she's meant to be with. Maybe, like, part of the reason she's dealing with all this is because, you know, she's just supposed to be alone at this time in her life. Like, there's nothing wrong with being alone, you know? And yeah, but it's easy to see that in romantic relationships, but I feel like we don't talk about it enough when it comes to, like, careers. Like, you're like, okay, you made it really, really fast, but you worked twice as hard. You don't get as much as you deserve. And on top of that, you missed a lot of the people that could have helped you get to where you want to be faster with less stress. You know what I mean? So maybe it would have seemingly taken longer, but it would have been a more rewarding journey. If that makes sense. If that makes sense to y'all. But yeah, like, because I'll tell you, I'll give you myself as an example. Like, now I have a mentor in the industry. I have my agents who I work with. I have a good relationship with with a couple of casting agents. So it's like, I was so stressed out before. I was trying to get in by any means necessary because I felt this pressure, I felt this stress. And then on top of that, I'm doing something that I actually want to do, which is do commercials, be in movies, you know, work on film sets and stuff. And before, I was just like, I want to do theater. I have to do this. I have to do it like this. And it's like, relax, like, calm down, you know? But yeah, that was just like really interesting to me. And like I said, like, part of what made the wedding so beautiful is the time. Like I said, the weather was perfect. The birds were chirping. Like the birds literally sang over this union. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And I feel like in life, like we neglect the element of time so much. Like we just want it as fast as possible. And it's like, imagine if you put a cake in the oven and you're like, well, I want it now. And you open up the oven and you try to eat the cake. It's not even gonna be cake yet. It's just gonna be sugary soup. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so, and also like when you think about patience, because a lot of people, like a lot of times you'll hear people say like, I've been patient when they're talking about their career or the job that they want or the money that they want to make, right? And they'll say, I've been patient. But what I heard a good teaching about patience. And it was from Tiffany Montgomery. It's on like her Marriage Fast playlist. I'll find a link to it. But she said the thing about patience is more than just the amount of time you've waited. She said patience is maintaining like composure and grace and everything while you wait. It's maintaining like a pleasant attitude while you wait. You know, it's allowing yourself to like enjoy, I'm paraphrasing, it's allowing yourself to enjoy the other things that are going on around you while you wait for what you ultimately want. And like, when you think about it like that, ask yourself, like, have you really been patient when it comes to the job you want? Have you really been patient when it comes to the partner you want? You know what I mean? Because sometimes we'll see somebody and you're like, they just started doing this last week and now look at them, a star. You know what I mean? They just got out of a relationship and now look at them, married to the love of their life. This is not fair. But it's like, you have to remember, like, they could have a completely different mindset and heart posture than you. And so that's why they're open. They're so much more open to good opportunities. But yeah, so what else was I gonna say on that? Oh yeah, like I said, also, you seriously may be destined to a beautiful marriage, maybe destined to an amazing career, right? But if you don't take the time before you get what you've been praying for or what you've been working for or what you feel like you have to have right now to work on yourself, the marriage that you want may be a hindrance to you. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? The job that you want, the money that you want could be a hindrance to you. You see that all the time. People will win the lottery and then they end up broke 5 years later. And it's like, how did you go through millions of dollars in 5 years? But it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't despise your journey. You can't despise the time that it takes to make it. You can't despise those processes, because those processes are actually what refine you so that when you get what you've been praying for, what you want so bad and everything, you don't neglect it or you don't dishonor it in any way. Like, you don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? It's the process that really helps you come to appreciate what you ultimately get, no matter how long it takes. But yeah, I don't really know how I got on all that. I've been getting ready for the last 35 years just to look like this. But yeah, I need to start getting dressed and everything. But I hope that helps anybody that has a big dream, or maybe you feel like you have to prove something to someone. Because I used to feel like I had to prove to these niggas, like, yeah, I'm an actress in real life. And it's like, who? Why are you proving to people who work at banks and who work in grocery stores, or anybody for that matter, even other actors? Why are you trying to prove to them that you are an actor? Like, it literally does not matter. The only person who needs to know that you're an actor is God, okay? Because he's the one that's gonna set everything up. He's the one that's gonna hook everything up. And once you get that, that's why, like, I feel so much peace in these callbacks and these auditions. I don't get nervous anymore. Just last week I had an audition where I had to sing, right? The old me, singing on an audition would have caused me so much stress. You know, it would have taken me hours to submit the tape. I would have been working on the tape, you know, for 1,000 years. I would have been working on the tape for super, super long. I would have been so stressed out, so hypercritical about my sounds and everything. And this time, I had that audition and I was done. I didn't sit there and overthink. I didn't sit there and be hypercritical. I just submitted my stuff and I ate me a snack and went to the gym. And there was no stress, there was no, you know, beating myself up in the process. It was a pleasant audition experience, you know? So yeah, so let things rock. You know, and also ask the Lord for like vision. Ask the Lord to help you see what you can't see, because like, I'll give you a really good example. I used to want to do, like the minute I started doing commercials, or the minute I booked a TV agent, right? I immediately wanted to do TV and film, immediately. And I remember I had gotten an audition with OWN, and I was really excited for it because I had her submit me, well no, she had submitted me to the project a while. It was for like some show on OWN, I can't remember what it is now. But she had submitted me for it a while ago, and I hadn't gotten the notice. Normally, like if you're submitted for something, at least when you're doing commercials, they'll have you tape in like a couple days, right? But this time I hadn't heard anything in like months. And so a couple months later, she emailed me and she's like, hey, they want you to tape, right? And so I'm super excited. And like I said, I'm so pressed to tape as soon as they want me to tape. I literally like set up my camera and everything at like 10 o'clock at night to like make sure I could get the tape in as quickly as possible. Because I was like, that's gonna help me with my chances of booking this job. And I really, really wanted this job. Like I really, really wanted to be on TV. Like ever since I was a kid, I've just wanted to be on TV. And so I remember being like so pressed to submit this tape. And so I submit the tape. And now looking back, I bet you if I found that tape, you would probably be able to feel the stress radiating from the screen, right? Because energy can be felt. And I ended up not booking it, and I was like, oh gosh, I was so close. Like, why didn't I book this job? Like, why did they ask me to tape if they're not gonna book me? Like, what's the point, right? I'm all stressed out and stuff. And fast forward a couple months later, I was on my first commercial set, on my first proper film set. And we taped all night long, right? And we had breaks, but I did not realize the difference between, like, I did not understand like a proper film set versus like small projects that I had worked on in the past. You understand what I'm saying? I knew that I knew how to act, and I knew how to memorize lines, and I knew how to memorize blocking, but I did not realize that, I didn't realize the contrast of a proper film set. And so while I'm on this commercial set, I remember thinking to myself, thank God I didn't book that TV role, because I would have been ill-prepared. I would not have been properly prepared to step on a film set and to do an actual professional TV series. You get what I'm saying? Like, thank God for that rejection, because I would have been so embarrassed. And maybe I would not have been embarrassed. Maybe they would have edited it in a way that, you know, I wasn't embarrassed. Or maybe I would have performed very, very well. But I can tell you I would have been extremely stressed out on set. Okay? Because a film set is a lot different than theater. It's a lot different. And you have to let yourself have time to be comfortable on a film set. And one thing that I've learned about me is sometimes I need a little bit more time. And I remember I was talking to one of my friends that also does film, and she's like, you don't really need classes for film. Like, you don't really need it. But for me personally, like, I did need classes for film. because I had to adjust. I'm already a big person. I'm already, like when I say a big person, I mean I have like a big personality. I have like a big voice. Like I needed classes for film. And so I remember being on this commercial set and like looking around, and they had this massive crew. Like there was just so much going on, and it was very overstimulating. We shot overnight as well, and I remember just being like I was keeping it together. I wasn't even stressed out. I just remember being like, wow, this is a lot. This is not what I was expecting. I didn't expect to feel nervous at all, right? I've been acting for a while now. I'm not gonna be nervous on a film set. Like there's not gonna be anybody there. It's not like there's an audience, but there's not an audience, but there's a massive crew. And there's a camera that gets like this close to your face. And like sometimes they'll be looking and like, you can't help but just look at the camera. And he's like, why are you looking at me? You know? Yeah, and then on top of that, on this set, they had producers like walking around like you didn't know they were producers. They looked like, I don't know. It was just a very different vibe from what I was expecting. And I remember when I left that set being like, I am so happy I did not book that acting role, because, I didn't book that TV show because I would have not been properly prepared. I would have been very, very stressed out. I would have been, I wouldn't have been mature enough to be on a set. You get what I'm saying? And it's really easy to look at other people and be like, well, they've been acting since they were 8, and I'm this age, so why can't I be on the set? And it's like, it doesn't matter about them. They're not you. For your maturity level, for your creativity, for your, for your personality, that thing that you wanted so bad could have been and probably would have been a massive hindrance and setback to you. Because I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of people who are in this industry who are like, yeah, I started doing this at 17, 18 years old, and I didn't know how to act, I didn't know how to behave, I had never had all this freedom, and so I ended up, being blackballed from a couple of casting agents, or being blackballed from a couple of markets because of my reputation on sets and in rehearsal spaces. And it's just like, you never realize like the role that maturity plays into longevity in something, especially when it comes to like acting, because even sometimes we are like, oh, we're just playing, but it's like, no, you still need to be mature at certain times. So yeah, now I'm just rambling, but I hope that this video, I don't really know what I hope it did, but I hope it did what it was supposed to. If you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling frustrated, if you have been feeling uninspired, if you have been feeling lost, this is your sign to pause and to go to your Father and pray and ask him what your next steps are. Okay? And he will certainly tell you what your next steps are, because he will. Ask him what's in the way. Ask him to open your eyes to what's in the way of what you want. Ask him to show you the things that are in you that keep you from what you want, because sometimes it's like he would love to give you something, but you don't have the maturity for it, like I said, or you don't have the maybe you don't have good discernment, right? So you see someone that's smiling and laughing and kikiing with you, and you assume that they're your best friend, So yeah, go to your Father, ask him about your life, ask him about your path, ask him about your spouse that you want so bad, and make your decisions from that place, instead of like just looking around and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Because you're not far behind. Far behind from what? What are you behind in? Huh? What's so far behind? Because if you had it, it would have upset you. And I told a girl the other day at the gym, a girl I used to work with, and she's like, I'm gonna go to Miami, I'm gonna be a bottle girl. And I said, how about you go pray and you ask God what you should do next? How about that? Because it's really easy, especially in service, to just be like, I'm just gonna do so-and-so and so-and-so. But then it puts you on a hamster wheel of doing. but you want a hamster wheel of doing. So you're bottle girling, you are serving, you're doing all this stuff, and you're making money, all things considered. And it's also really easy in the service industry to feel like you're making such good money. But like, remember, like in what you're actually supposed to be doing, you're gonna make way more money. I've had nights as a server where I've been tipped 100% by tables, and like I've made really great money. Like I've gone home with like, you know, 600 bucks. And at the time, that felt like so much money. But then in this industry that I'm working in and acting, and like I said, I'm chilling, I'm not too stressed out about it or anything. Now, a good day of work for me is, you know, I'm gonna be modest, like $1,500. You know what I'm saying? Like the callback I'm preparing for, it's a lot more than $600 that I get this job. So yeah, like just remember that, like, it's really easy to be motivated by money, or to be motivated on the things that we see. So like if you're following a bunch of bottle girls and they're like, yeah, I make, you know, $1,000 in a night, or I make $2,000 or $3,000 in a night, it feels like so much money. But it's like, in what you're actually supposed to be doing, in the industry that you may actually be called for, after you hone your craft and everything, after you meet the people that you're supposed to meet, that $2,000-3,000 is gonna be something that you sneeze. You know what I mean? It's not gonna feel like a lot of money, you know? But yeah, so that's it for this video, y'all. I need to stop talking. I really need to lock in. I gotta get in my zone and everything. My callback is in about 30 minutes. And I hope I get it. If I don't, it's okay. I feel good though. I feel really happy. And I love like getting ready on camera because it kind of acts as like a light warm up, you know? I do warm up before auditions and callbacks and stuff, because you don't want to like be rolling out of bed, like waking up like feeling all stiff and stuck. But yeah, so that's it for this video, you guys. I will see you in the next video next week, girl. And hopefully I'll have some more stories and some more gems for you. I love my skin. It's so shiny.